Hi, Beth. I'm so excited to have you today. I wanted to share a little bit first about why I invited you to my podcast. I love your work. I think it's so incredible what you're doing with kids, with humans of all ages, with teachers. And this is such a critical part in our healing as individuals and as a community. And so thank you so much for being willing to do this interview or conversation with me. And I need to let any of the listeners know that this is also my sister, my best friend, and just the human in my life that is always present. So I'm triply, doubly, exponentially excited to share her work because it's hard for me to totally tell everybody what it's about because it's so full and so expansive. So without further ado, Beth, I would like you, if you don't mind, just introduce yourself, share a little bit about where you are, what your work is, and we'll go from there.
Fantastic. I am Lynn's sister, Beth Joselyn, and I live in Hopkins, Minnesota. I'm a teacher. Let me start over. I feel a little nervous. Anyway,
We're basically just having coffee together.
Yeah, we're totally having coffee. We'd love to have coffee together. I teach 1st through 5th grade art. I work in a building with over 870 students. And so I see approximately 640 students a week. I'm also a movement and mindfulness teacher. And so it's a win-win with creativity and teaching students how to reset their own nervous system throughout, as soon as they come in, actually, and then throughout the creative hour. And then when we leave, one thing I'm noticing that is transitions is it's tricky for most humans, and we don't even really acknowledge or know it. So one of the ways that I really embrace connecting with each of my classes is honoring our bodies at the beginning of class, the middle of class, and at the end of class.
And that's one of the biggest things that you continue to teach me is that nervous system reset. And so you and I have had so many conversations about this, but the brilliance of starting that with young people for so many reasons. And I know a little bit about how you got to this place, and I know a little bit about, your choice and how you became a teacher and then moved into this, this space where I feel is truly so critical in our development. The movement, mindfulness, creativity, the resetting of the nervous system. Can you share a bit about how your process evolved to get here?
Absolutely. So in a nutshell, I don't think I was in my body till I was 33 or 34 years old, honestly. Long story short, lived in New Mexico, had my own business, had some life situations where it moved me to Minneapolis and allowed me to start again. So I had my own clothing business. And then I moved to Minneapolis to raise our son. I got divorced with my son's father, and just so happened that I was looking for a job and tried subbing without any classroom management. And I taught a 7th and 8th grade class, and literally every night I came home either like crying or like, oh my goodness. So I went back to school and got my master's for art education. And as soon as I got done with art education, I have to tell you, both, all of you, I have puppies right now. And so I'm going to introduce my puppies, and then I'm going to actually put them somewhere else because I'm having a hard time focusing.
These are like my grand, or not grand, these are my nephews. Oh my goodness. This is Lewis.
This is Clark.
This is okay. Backwards.
Yes. And then this other one, let me go get Lewis, and then maybe they'll settle down. This would be John Lewis. We love him so much.
Oh my goodness. Oh, Boba Doodle.
So anyway, All right. So I got my master's in education, and I began teaching, and I realized pretty quickly that I was exhausted at the end of the day. I had no resource. I would go home with headaches. And I thought to myself, what is going on? About that time, and this was about 2004, I got into Bikram yoga, which is that hot 26 and 2. And I noticed within the next few months, I was able to use some of those movements throughout the day. Or there's a breathing in that practice called Pranayama Breathing. And I would use that. And I noticed pretty quickly, wow, that really helps me throughout the day, but I didn't think much of it. And then in 2000, fast forward to 2014, actually 2013, my mentor teacher, Martha Williams, invited me to her kid yoga studio and to take a teacher training there. So I took that, and I realized at that moment that this is what I'm meant to do, work with kids and understanding their body. Fast forward a little bit further, she offered, she had 2 studios. And so she was not able to keep the kids' studio anymore. She offered for someone to take it over, and I did. I had that studio for 4 years, and I think of that as school, because I came in with one agenda, and that was to teach the kids yoga. And I left after 4 years realizing that kids understand their own bodies way more than what we give them credit for. What I needed to do is teach them a few tools and then get out of the way for them to listen to their own body. Around that time, I started doing similar work with my classes at school. And I realized my classroom management just became easier, because as kids started to settle in their bodies, they were able to listen. I want to rewind back to when we were growing up. You and I, we would hear things a lot about sit still, take a big breath, things like that. But nobody really told me the reason why. And as an adult, one of my intentions each and every day that I go to school is to tell the kids the reason why stillness is such a superpower. Movement, we're designed to move throughout the day, and our breath is our elixir that creates that and can continue to create that homeostasis, or that return to balance.
Beautiful. So, breath as an elixir. That is because it's available to all of us at any time.
Yeah, it doesn't cost a thing. And it is actually one thing our breath is supposed to do, is to regulate our nervous system. But unfortunately, when we were younger, they just didn't have all that information. And now we do. So we get to celebrate it and share it as much as possible.
It's incredible. And through your years, in the early part of your teaching, when you would come home, not feeling great, exhausted, spinning out, to fast forward now, and even most recent in the last couple of years, first and foremost, I want to thank you for your incredible service as a teacher. This has been, it's hard enough as a teacher, but this last couple of years has been really intense with the pandemic. How have you personally been able to be consistent or continually use those practices? I mean, perhaps maybe you can share a tip for all of us that it's, something like a pandemic comes on and you're in survival and you're just going, how do you stay in your practice? Because it is so foundational for how you work with kids.
I guess it comes down to practicing what we preach. There are days where I don't pay attention to that on my own. And I believe that our energies harmonize or disharmonize when we're in a group. And so when I'm not doing my work, I notice pretty quickly the kids model that or mirror that. And so luckily, I feel super grateful that I'd done enough of these practices before the pandemic came, that I knew that if I want to survive and actually even thrive, that I had to continue doing them. And I'm not alone in it, because our community, our school community, we're starting to use the same language together, which is really powerful. Because when I'm in fight or flight, when I'm in that place where I am dysregulated, I have teachers and even students that will tell me, oh, Miss Joselyn, have you found your breath today? Or a colleague coming in, wow, you look stressed. Can we breathe together for a minute? So one thing I'm learning again and again, this isn't a one and done thing. Just because I have the knowledge, if I don't practice it, it's not available to me. And so actually just had a conversation with my principal last week, and he asked how my year's going. And I said, I'm actually having one of the best years I've ever had. And he looked at me and he's like, and I said, yeah, even with masks, even with, all these constraints, because I'm doing my practices. And when I say practices, I'm talking something 2 minutes or less. So you had asked if I could give an example or a tip. One of the best go-tos for me in a pinch is a body scan, because I got my body and I can scan it wherever I'm at. So I don't know. Would you feel like going through a body scan real quick?
I love that. Yes.
All right.
Whoever's listening, join us too.
Yeah, join in, because basically all you need to do is still your body. So you can do it standing, you can do it sitting. The first thing I do when I do a body scan, I like to close my eyes, because our eyes are sensory hogs. They tend to overcompensate the other senses. So as soon as I close my eyes, I can feel a little bit more still in my body. And then I like to take my hands and place them on my thighs if I'm sitting. And then I just watch for my breath. As soon as I've created that stillness and my breath is flowing easily, I don't have to manipulate or count a certain way with it. I just relax into it. And then I usually start at my feet, because that's our foundation of our body. And I say something like this: relax my toes, relax my toes, relax my toes, relax my ankles, relax my shins, relax my knees, relax my hips. Just breathe. And then I continue to go throughout my body. And then when I get done, I go ahead and rub my hands, and literally within, I would say 30 seconds to a minute, I have come down from maybe what my husband and I like to coin 90 degrees, like I'm about to blow up, to about 50, and then about 40. And if I stay here a full 2 minutes, I'm almost reset, unless I've had an extracurricular time or there's been something that I'm really carrying that's heavy. And if I do that, I would say once every 2 hours, I'm resetting not only for myself, but for the people that are in the art room with me.
So powerful.
Yeah.
I already feel calmer. Of course, I was a little anxious, pushing record, and I already feel just a bit more present. A couple things are really resonating with me that you've shared. And one of them is how through your personal work, not only have you, you're driven to support the kids and to teach them these early tools, right? So they have this the rest of their life. But you also, twofold, like community keeps you in the work. And I know this about you, so I'd love you to share just a bit about this as well. How you have shared your passion of this, not only with the kids, but with the other teachers, which you're changing culture. It's powerful, right? Because if somebody comes up to you and says, Miss Joselyn, have you found your breath? Or you seem a little stressed. Can we breathe together? That's how we change, like big culture. You're changing your school culture. So can you share a bit about the expansion of that into your peers and your colleagues?
Absolutely. Once I found that this is a sustainable way of living, and then going beyond just the daily grind, but I can actually thrive throughout my day. I wanted to share it as fast and as quickly as I could. So I developed a curriculum for teachers. And the 3 foundations are movement, stillness, and creativity. So within those, I have taught teachers how to infuse these modalities throughout their day, every day, no matter if they're teaching math, reading, science. It's more of a way of being throughout the day instead of now we're going to do this lesson. Once that I started to share it with some teachers, we have a program called an all program at the Wayzata School District that I'm at, and it offers teachers to instruct other teachers. So for the last, I would say 6 years, I've offered a class. It's a 12-hour class where I walk through the learning with teachers as actually they have to do the practices themselves. Because here's a little secret about teachers. We just want to give it all away, but sometimes we don't think we have enough time for ourselves. So the first 6 hours are all for us. And we get to really understand how things feel when we actually do the practices without then quickly wanting to give it away. And then since then, I have a principal that sees work, and when it works, he wants to invite it. So I lead the staff meetings with breathing at the beginning, and I do other professional develop for other school districts that hire me. So yeah, it is a game changer for teachers. It is absolutely, because going back to a body that's harmonized will harmonize another body, but a body that's in dysregulation has the ability to kind of trump that. So it's really important as a teacher, if I'm in the front of the room, for my body to continue to go back to balance so that my class stays that way, right? It's a conversation. It's an energy conversation, actually. Yeah.
Those 2 things, bodies harmonize each other, or they disharmonize each other, and energy conversation. That's brilliant.
And I want to share that the harmonizing and the disharmonizing, that's language that I learned from Resma Menakem. And so just throwing his name out, he does incredible work around trauma and racialized trauma. And so he's what's called a somatic therapist. And he believes a lot of our energies that stay stuck in our body create disharmony. And then if it stays in there long enough, it creates trauma. I don't know if I got off the tangent, but I wanted to make sure
and that's beautiful. And then it creates disease, right? So
yes.
It's just, that's why I think of you as a boots on the ground healer. Yeah.
Yes. These boots were made for walking.
Okay. For anybody who's listening or watching, my sister has always been a game changer. Look how beautiful her space is. She has color. She has art. She's an incredible artist. So many things that she's bringing together. And so, couple things as we close. I would love to know, let's start with how we talked a little bit about the mindfulness, the resetting. Is there any other way you fill your personal cup up? Like, how do you keep showing up? This is hard work.
I honestly believe that it's because of the work that I show up. Not always, I mean, I'm a human like everybody else. And I have this thing called, like, I dread any appointment I ever have to do. I just dread it. I don't know why that is, but because I know that about myself, I, again, will do the resetting and then I'll just do it anyway. I don't really give myself an option. And here's the magic. Once I show up, and I was just thinking about this morning, it's really only about showing up, because once I show up, the other humans take hold, and then it's a dance, right? Then it's a collaboration with whatever we're doing. So it's getting to the mat or getting to the office or getting in the car. And I think it's conversations I have with people that I feel close to It's being vulnerable when I don't have the resources to ask. That's not historically been an easy thing for me. So knowing I need to ask is really important. And then also, I've taken two words out of my vocabulary, the word should and the word busy. And honestly, since I've taken those two things out, life is it's really pretty awesome.
That's so
It
good.
is. It's pretty awesome.
And what lights you up? What lights you up so that you get up every day and live your life on purpose?
Art lights me up. I spend 10 minutes every morning at my studio and just making a mess. That lights me up. Seeing kids struggle through their creativity to find their own artist voice, it flipping lights me up. Yoga lights me up. Little puppy voices like that light me up. I honestly, I'm easily lit up. I'll be honest with you.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
You know, family lights me up. It just, I think it's choice on some level. When I'm resourced, it's a choice. And you and I talked about that. It's not always a choice. And that's when I call on community. But when I'm resourced, it's honestly a choice on seeing the good, because our bodies are miracles. Like the fact that I can think about raising my hand and it raises.
Cool, right? Brilliant.
So cool. Yes. So cool. Yeah.
It's brilliant. And just for all the listeners, one other thing I am just so incredibly grateful for. My sister is what I think of as the ultimate joy bubble. She always is bringing joy and color and creativity and epic possibility to people around her. And she's fiercely in your corner. So she's got your back, whoever you are. So I'm curious. I would love to share how people can find you. And, I don't know if you want to share your website. I could put that in the notes, or a piece of art, or I think there's been so many nuggets in this conversation. I would love to have people be able to access you if you're open to that, and how we do that.
I'm absolutely open to that. My website is called kidyogamn.com, and you can reach me there. It's not an active website because after I got done with the studio piece of it, I'm sitting with kind of what's next for me. My goal is to every human I meet be able to share with them that movement, stillness, and creativity can be free modalities and vehicles to a thriving life. And so whether I'm at the grocery store practicing my breath in line, or watching a kid draw art, I'm going to bring in all the skills that we have inside. So I would love for you to reach out, anybody, anywhere, and just for us to have a conversation, and I can see where you're at. If you feel like I have a skill set that I could share with you, I'd love that. And then I'm going to say this out loud. I am writing a little manual of the resets. And so as soon as that gets out, I'm going to share it with Lynn, and she knows how to reach it from there. So I said it out loud. I declared it.
Love it.
So here we go.
Love it. So it's coming.
It's coming.
And it'll be beautiful, and it'll be useful, and it'll be life-changing, because that's how you walk through the world. So you kind of answered my last question on your what's next, and look for her in the grocery store.
Look, yeah, we can breathe together in line. Never have to be bored. Yeah. Thank you so much, Lynn, for this opportunity. It's really valuable as a practitioner for me to have a little bit of time where somebody's on the other end asking me these questions that make me think, and also allows me time to see kind of like full circle, like the work that I'm doing, because some days, right, we wonder if this is all worth it. I see pretty quickly it is, because I just get to see a little first grader giving me a hug in the morning. But, so thank you for providing this space. Thank you very much for all of the work you're doing.
It's so fun. It is my joy, and it lights me up to hear. And you're doing so much more, even we couldn't even get to it all. So we'll just have to interview you again.
Round two.
So anyway, love up those puppies and those
Thanks,
kids. And I know I will talk to you soon, but thanks for sharing your vision, your passion, and all the gifts that you are so generously giving to the people around you. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. This has been
Awesome.
awesome.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.